Greetings, Patrick here, Eight Questions With, and welcome to the show. It is a hot and humid Thursday afternoon here in southeastern Michigan, or evening, I should say, and glad you are here for the show. Tonight, we'll be talking to the cast and crew of the short film "You Filthy Animal." It was written and directed by Jeff Clark Jr. It was produced and photographed by the mighty Pat Bradley, and it stars Michael-Eoin Stanney and the lovely Kelly Grago. Right, Grago. I'm going to find out which one it is. Um, they will be here in about 15 minutes or so. Anthony is now in 1997. That's awesome. Who won the World Series in 1997? Anthony? I don't think it was the Yankees. It could be the Yankees though. But I think they started their 5 years of 98, 98, 99, 100. Maybe 97. Oh yeah, they beat the Yankees. See, I knew the Yankees had been to the series. Yeah. Um, so we are very excited to have the cast and crew of You Filthy Animal on. Quick couple of notices. One, the late great Donald Sutherland left this planet today, 88 years old. Donald Sutherland has done so many great things. Just incredible actor. I remember him from watching him from MASH, Animal House. Let's see. Wow, what else is he? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Italian Job. Um, I mean, he's done so many great things in his career. He played a very, very creepy arsonist in Backdraft. Creepy. And of course, many of us later people probably remember him playing President Snow in the Hunger Games. But Donald Sutherland has left, and he was 88 years old. Okay, so yeah. So let me go to the calendar because the calendar's starting to shape up here. July is starting to come together for us. We still got some holes in July, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So let me tell you what's going on because we are busy here. This is not the end of the week for us here on the channel. We want your help. Um, those who are, I'm going to mention later on too, but those who are watching this for replay, um, I really am interested in seeing which guests, what three guests have you enjoyed listening to the most? What three guests have you enjoyed the most here on the series? If you just dropped it down in the comment section, if you don't want to publicize that, you can always find me on Instagram, have Cheetah Will View. You can send me your answers privately. They won't be known. If you don't want to, I know some people on there. If I don't say their interview is the best, I might get some heat. I don't think that would happen, but hey, it's not up to me. It's up to you. But if you want to send me your three favorite interviews, and yes, you can vote for yourself. We can vote for yourself. Um, yeah, you can do that. I like to find out the three most popular interviews. All right. Um, I want to thank our guest last night. Angela Haas was here. Hall of Fame guest. Hall of Fame guest. Yes, anybody who knows who about the original Guardians of the Galaxy, and like she did. She knew who Charlie 27 was. She knew who Starhawk was, Martin X, Yondu, in the proper timeline. How could you not just immediately just point them to the Hall of Fame wing already? That's just. She says she likes to write about superheroes. Well, she knows a lot more about that than a lot of people I know who claim to know about superheroes, whereas Angela knows about superheroes. So, congratulations on that. That was a really fun interview. All right. So, what do we get coming up here? Well, this is the last show for Eight Questions With, but we are busy over the weekend. We will be here on Saturday at 1 o'clock. I'll be joined by the Friendly Men. We will be doing a 2-hour fundraiser for our good friend Hobbs Horror. I just heard today from Ken from Sledgehammer Horror, and I sort of knew this going in. I asked him so late in the game. I'm no sweat off my nose about it or his either. Had asked him to come out and hang out with us on Saturday. Um, I know weekends are pretty much his family time, and I really thought the only reason I could probably get away with asking him something from his family time would be to do something like this. Um, uh, but they had some plans. Ashley's brother's birthday, and so they will not be able to make it with us on Saturday. But we'll have Jonas, we'll have Ant review things, and we'll have James hanging out with us on and maybe even the professor. I'm hearing. I have to see if the professor wants to come up. If he does, he's more than welcome to come up. We're gonna be holding the fort down for 2 hours, starting at 1 o'clock on Saturday, 1 to 3, and then we're out of here. And then we pop up at 4 o'clock as we head over to the UK, and we'll be on Video Tasty's show. And he and I will be watching and discussing the movie Sahara, that was written by Clive Cussler and made into a film starring Matthew McConaughey, Penelope Cruz, and Steve Zahn. And that will be at 4 o'clock. Sunday, I had to change the movie for the third time. Third time. But this time, this is going to go through. So the Hallmark crew is coming back together. We will be watching Ships in the Night, a Martha Vineyards mystery, and with Jesse Metcalf and Sarah Lind. That will be the Hallmark movie that we will be watching and discussing. And rumor has it, there might be a special midnighter, an IFC midnighter coming in to sit on the panel. Um, and so that show will start at 4 p.m. on Sunday as well. 4 p.m. on Sunday. All right, I'm so happy about that. I had to go through 3 times. I should have known better too. Like, someone releases a brand new movie on YouTube. Look at the full movie. You sort of really got to hold your breath on that, because like, if it's still there after a couple of months, it's probably going to stay there. But if you put it up there bright and early, and then you go back and you can't find it anymore, that means YouTube came over there and got you, and probably gave you a strike or took away your channel. All right. Uh, okay. I just heard. Oh, I hope that's not true. Hobbs just says he doesn't think there'll be a midnight hour tonight. That's not good. Um, Okay. Uh, yeah, because I wanted to use that. I wanted hoping they use the midnight hour to publicize what's going on Saturday, and like I'm gonna do right now. So Saturday we are getting together a bunch of cool channels, and we're coming together to help our friend Hobbs Horror. We're gonna start out at 11 a.m. With Mr. Dan and Horror. Rumor has it, I have a lot of rumors now, right? It's almost like being at summer camp. But rumor has it, there might be an update on this Yeti and Squatch beef. If you missed it, the Yeti and Sasquatch have been beefing over the Hot Wheels races that Mr. Dan and Horror has been putting together in his backyard. Pretty intense, if you ask me. But there might be an update 11 o'clock on Mr. Dan's channel. At mid at noon, 12 to 1. Stephen from the House of Horrors, and wasn't that a badass clip the professor put out for him? It has a House of Horrors and it's a lightning over the house. That was pretty badass. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Um, so Stephen's going to be holding down the fort from 12 to 1. I do not know if he's having any special guests hanging out with him or not. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen with Mr. Dan either. Um, and then me, I'm on at 1 to 3. And of course, I just mentioned the Friendly Men will be hanging out with us. And then from 3 to 4, it's going to be the Mighty Ice Lord will be coming over. That's right. Our favorite boutique Bala, Mr. Ice Lord, will be in the holding down a fort for an hour. And then we will wait till the end of the night, 11 o'clock at night, or 10 o'clock at night, one of the two. JT will be going up at 10 to 11, and then Limonia will be heading off. And I'm not sure exactly how long they're going to go. I heard they might be going all night. Um, so that would be awesome if we could all show up for that and donate. Not just show up, but you got to donate. Um, this is what it's for. We're trying to raise money. It's sort of like a gathering of friends. But our buddy needs some help. He really does. He really needs the help. I know some of you might say, "Well, weren't you talking about that last month?" Yeah, yeah, we were, and we're talking about it again this month too, because he needs the help. So, if you're so inclined to help us out, there will be various ways that you can donate to help Hobbs Horror. Um, yeah, so we're gonna go through that. He's got a GoFundMe page. I think he's got a PayPal page. Other ways that you can donate to. All right. Yeah, it's things are tough outside. I feel it. I things aren't easy here at this house, that's for sure. And on other people I've talked to, it's a people are struggling now. And when you get a major medical problem, it can really cause a lot of problems. But that's what's going on Saturday, and then of course Sunday over at Ben's house, Cadaver Club Ben. We will be heading over to the IFC crew. We'll be all heading over there to talk about Evil Lurks Within. And I have not seen this movie. I have heard about it. I know that it is one of the better movies that people were talking about last year. I'm so excited to be able to watch and talk about it. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna be borrowing a copy from my library. They got that movie in at the library. I'm impressed. My library never ceases to amaze me with the movies they carry. And let me tell you, when I saw that sitting there in the new release, I was going like, that's whoever bought that. That's a badass buyer. That's a badass buyer for putting that on the shelf. And I just want to see if they have the cojones to put the coffee table out on there. That's what I'm going to be checking out on. Now I do know last year our library did carry the Cinephobia's Brightwood. They carried that. So, and in fact, I was responsible for three people borrowing it, to watch the movie. Um, so yeah, that's so much fun. So I'm gonna be borrowing that, and we're gonna be talking about that. A week from Sunday. We're going to be talking about the ISC show. That's gonna be a banging show too. Ben always picks a really strong. He always picks the really strong IFC movies out. All right, so let me tell you what's going on with Eight Questions with. So we're heading into the last week. We're heading into the last week. We have um, we have a pretty big lineup, if you ask me. We have a pretty big lineup. We have Anna Axton. Actress Anna Axton will be here on Tuesday, the 25th. And then we got an exclusive interview ourselves with the new owners of Anchor Bay Entertainment. That's right. We are interviewing Brian Katz and Thomas Zembrick, and we'll be talking about the relaunch of Anchor Bay Entertainment. Um, Man, that's huge. That's really big. But they're not new to this. This isn't just something they just said, "Hey, I want to try to get into this." Both men have had their roots into either working for Anchor Bay. They formed their own company called Umbrellix, and it was as a film distributor and has done a lot of. It helps a lot of different film productions through various stages. They actually are. One of their offices is in Michigan, Troy, Michigan, which is not that far away from me. It's like an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes out away from me. Not that far. And as far as I know, they're still based out of there. So we'll be talking with Brian and Thomas on Wednesday. So if you have questions about physical media and the future of it, and what's gonna, or how are they gonna relaunch Anchor Bay. I want to know how much of the catalog they're going to be able to tap into that Lionsgate's control. Hopefully, Lionsgate will sit there and look at the 50th or 60th lowest selling items and give it to them. let them say, hey, here, you could take these 60 right here. They're not really doing anything for us, but maybe you could do something for them. I don't know if that's how it works, but to me, it seems like, hey, if I'm not making any money out of it, why? I'm gonna try to get money out of it. Maybe I go ahead and I give those 60 movies to the new Anchor Bay with maybe like a 10%. Maybe you can kick me down 10% or whatever you sell for the next 2 years, 3 years. You recharge the Anchor Bay Entertainment name. You got a catalog of movies behind you. So when you can do sales and get people excited about the brand, and they'll come back out and buy it. And as far as I understand, from what I've read, what I've heard, it will be physical media. They will not be just streaming services. Anchor Bay Entertainment is going to be coming back as a physical media entity. So, and which is really cool because I just picked up one. I just picked up a brand new one myself. I picked up well, hold on here. See if make sure. Okay, that's good. Just want to make sure that no one's getting lost because it's now 8 o'clock. Yeah, so I'm very excited because I do think that it's very exciting if they can relaunch it and get their fingers back into the brick and mortar stores like Fred Meyer's and GameStop are now going to be starting to sell physical copies now again. That'll be great. My store that's close to me is a local Meyer store, and I went there last weekend, and sadly, let me see. Uh, oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's right. Let me go grab this real quick here. I got to do one thing here. Uh, uh, we have people. All right, all right. How are you guys?
Good. Are you in an Uber?
The life of an actor.
Yeah, I've actually had people. Yes, I was gonna say I've had interviews where people have been in their cars. Let me
Gotta
do
do what we gotta
one.
do sometimes.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? All right. I'm gonna be with you guys 1 second.
Sure.
All right. All right. All right. I invited a guest to hang out with us tonight. So she's going to be on her way in right now. It's an actress named Sherry Severs. She's going to be coming in as well. Glad you guys are here. Obviously, Jeff and Michael-Eoin are coming. They'll be here a little late, but we can definitely get the ball rolling. Oh, you
Just
are in the Uber. Oh, that's awesome. I thought you were actually driving, Kelly.
That's one step too far.
Oh, okay, here's
Jeff's
Michael.
late to his own interview, huh?
Hey, it's New York.
Oh, Jeff. Jeff don't count. He's from Jersey.
Oh no!
Whoops.
I heard that.
Oh, you brought out the Jersey card. Oh boy, I'm gonna be hearing about it now. Welcome aboard. We got one more guest coming in. I invited Sherry Severs, actress I had interviewed on before, and as of late, what I've been doing for some is I've been inviting some past guests to come out and hang out while we do something like this, so they can hear and talk to some other peers while as well. So I think it'll be a lot of fun, and she'll be here really shortly. But first of all, I guess gotta say that I'm so glad you guys are here. I really love this movie a lot. I can't tell you how much I really did love it. I thought you guys all did a terrific job for it. Um, it's one of the best things I've seen this year. I can tell you right now, it's going to be in my top 10 without a doubt. I mean, there's not going to be anything more. It's not going to be anything other than 10 other movies that's going to beat this one. This one was made with heart and soul. I just loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Patrick, I appreciate that. Thank you. I mentioned that Kelly and Pat and Michael, they haven't seen it yet, but I'm very excited for them to see it. I appreciate all those compliments. I think they're gonna like it too. I'm happy with how it turned out, so I appreciate it. Thank you for saying all that.
Yeah, well, I think they sort of get an inkling. I think they're getting the inkling how well it's doing because they haven't seen the movie yet, but all of a sudden now they're winning awards for their acting. I think that's probably telling them something like, we must have did something really good here, something really special, and you're not just winning like a one award, and you won't be winning just one award. This movie here is going to take off and go places.
I hope that'd be nice. Yeah, it's doing really well so far. We got about 11 or 12 film festivals lined up. 4 have accepted, and hopefully we just keep, getting accepted by everyone. I think that, and this is something I was kind of going for. I think it's different. I think that not a lot of people are, a lot of filmmakers are writing or making these type of faith-based films that still have that are still gritty and have a lot of drama like this. And even though Kelly and Michael and Pat haven't seen it, I'm sure they can kind of relate to what I'm saying because they know the script. They read the script. They can talk more about that. But yeah, fingers crossed we're gonna be accepted to more film festivals, and I think it stands out. I think it's a different film. Yeah, we're all excited.
We talked about this a little bit, about faith-based films, and an independent faith-based film is probably the singularly most difficult film to probably make and get to a wide audience. And I mean that. I mean, when I say faith-based, I mean something that has heart in it, something that has, that has real strength to it. I'm not talking Hollywood playing church. You had the Kendrick brothers, and you had Kelly's Filmworks. They're the only two that I know that were putting out independent film. Oh, okay, Sherry's here.
Hey, Sherry, how are you?
Hello. I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good.
All right. Welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me.
So we were just talking about this. Did I lose somebody? No. Okay. I thought maybe I lost somebody. Okay. So I mean, we were just talking about spiritual indie movies are probably the most singularly hardest thing to bring to market. I've only seen 2 filmmakers do that myself: the Kendrick brothers and Kelly's Filmworks. And then the Kendrick brothers, they got a deal with Sony. They disappeared. They started doing mainstream stuff, which is, time for another discussion. But to come out here as an independent, making this level of movie. Let me ask you, Pat, since you have so much experience in screenwriting, how completely, I mean, when Jeff went to you and said, "This is what I want to do," what was your reaction to it, as both as a filmmaker and as a screenwriter? Did you think it would work?
Yeah. I thought it was going to work. It was a little different than the other one he sent me. Completely different, actually. So it was a little. I was a little confused at first. I didn't know Jeff was religious. We didn't have that discussion. We didn't really talk on a couple films that we made before. But just reading the script, I you know, it's like you said, it's different. So, not a lot of people are tackling that, and if they do, it's kind of cheesy. And the script didn't come off with any real cheese. So, that you could kind of
I tell you what really caught me, and I was like so with it, and it's something I know that I know some people probably wouldn't like it, I personally felt it absolutely worked, and I was glad it didn't get removed. There was a couple of words, spicy words in there. Now, most of the time, you will never hear those in a 100% Hollywood-based movie, but in real life, you're going to hear words like that in real life. Even from people who are, they go to church, they pray, they whatever. In a situation like that, you're gonna hear real emotions. You're gonna hear real words. I was so glad and impressed that stayed in the film. They didn't get pulled from it.
Let me just yeah, Pat loves that. But yeah, I just try to keep it as realistic as possible. And let me just say, we pulled a bunch of F-bombs out of that. Pat was like, you might not want to say these F-bombs because they don't like a lot of F-bombs in film festivals. I was like,
I mean, I should know, right?
Yeah.
If anybody's gonna know, it's me.
And I agree with him. I was like, you know what, you're right. And it's also, it's a faith-based film. I don't want to get too crazy with all the cursing or whatever. But I was trying to keep it as realistic as possible. The kind of stuff that I've been through and the kind of stuff that everyone here on this video here is going through too. We curse, we say bad things, we sin, we do things that we regret, and it's just a part of life. So I try to keep as much of that as possible in the script.
I'm going to the chat because we're hearing some good stuff. The chat's already blowing up here. Jen is here. Thank you so much. Let's see. I misread Kelly's last name as Drago. I think it's is it Drago, Kelly?
Yeah, Grago is. I'm not particularly attached to the pronunciation because it's a shortening of my real last name, which is Gragosian, which is an Armenian name, but I shorten it because it's easier.
Okay. And Jen's mentioning spiritual indie movies. Yeah, that's got to be. I really give this a lot of thought too, and I'm thinking, man, of all I've heard, we always heard that that horror movies, make a horror movie because they can do them for cheap, and you can get them done for less money, and you can make a profit. Everybody's talking about horror. That's so easy. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I think on the other side of the spectrum, I think doing a faith-based film, it's got to be the most difficult part of filmmaking. I think it's even more challenging than writing comedy.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Christians and different denominations that are going to see this and say, wait a minute, that doesn't happen. That's not supposed to happen. That's not in the Bible. Because I did take some creative liberties, and I know that I did to keep it entertaining. But
who knows? There's no one can walk up to you, Jeff, and sit there and say, well, that's not how it works. That's not nobody knows.
Right, but they can say, I'm anticipating them saying that is not in the Bible. Like for an example, all right. Well, I'll just throw one out there. So, obviously, Gabriel is an angel in the Bible, and not to give too much away, but I changed that to something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I changed it to something similar, but they're gonna be like, it's supposed to be Gabriel, and I can see them saying some stuff, but.
I love the choice. So it was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. And without giving too much away, I know the person has won awards, and you should win a lot more. It was one of the best performances I've seen. I choked up watching it. I won't lie to you. I thought it was very moving and very emotional. Let's see. Hey, Steve, how are you? Steve says he never curses in the shower. Let's see. Jay Wood is here. Excited to see the outcome. Talented crew here. Thank you so much. And he's also a huge fan of F-bombs here. Yeah, I've been known to drop an F-bomb here now and then once in a blue moon. what was it like? I asked this for Pat. Like what was his first reaction in getting the script? Well, let me ask you, Michael and Kelly, what was your first reaction when you got the script? Because I'm sure it's not like you get a lot of faith-based films coming across your desk.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, I would say my first introduction to the script was a self-tape side, and reading it through, and I actually couldn't tell at first whether it was faith-based, whether it was family drama, and then through my discussions with Jeff, and then getting the actual script in my hand, I realized, oh, this is a bigger story. And I know for me, it just felt like it came with responsibility. I mean, regardless of what faith you are, how spiritual you are, whatever, it's a responsibility to tell a story like this. So, yeah, I felt the weight of it, but it was an exciting challenge.
How about you, Kelly? What did you think when you saw the script?
A good story is a good story, and when you read something and it moves you as an actor, I don't think, like, I wish it happened more. But this script was very moving to me, and I choked up just reading it, and I think that's a testament to his writing, obviously. But a good story is a good story, and good writing is good writing, no matter the genre. And I think that, to Michael's point, it wasn't clear to me that it was faith-based in the audition process either. It seemed like intriguing characters. It seemed like a moving piece. And that's what I keep going back to, is this piece was so moving. And sometimes you're lucky enough to get to play those characters that you find so moving and get to that stage. And I'm glad that we got there with this. I mean, Spirit in the Sky was an international success. It's a very well-known song. That's a faith-based song. That's something that people enjoy across the board. And I don't think that many people even acknowledge that it is faith-based. So a good story is a good story. And I think we got one here.
Sherry, what's been the most surprisingly moving script that you've read? And have you ever done anything? Have you ever seen or heard any of your peers that have you ever been approached to do a faith-based project? And if not, would you do one?
Oh, I would. I haven't done one yet. I would definitely do a faith-based project. Probably the most difficult one is a blind musician that I've been working on. That one's a little tricky. Trying to write that one out. Still in the early stages of it, but no, I would definitely be interested.
I think it's exciting. I do. I remember watching first time I saw that out there, and I saw it in a little small ass little station, little I guess I don't even know what I would call it, and they were running a movie, and I was just watching it. I got hooked on it. Going like, I didn't know they make movies like that. I didn't know they made those type movies. And then, of course, then later on you see it get bigger and bigger. But to me, the bigger it gets, the less spirituality it retains. It just can't retain it. A small movie like this is power packed with it, and it won't lose its power. And in my opinion, now, was that the first when you sat down to write your first screenplay, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Was this your first one out of the box, or did you have like 2 or 3 other ones that you were thinking about doing? And how did you come up to making You Filthy Animal, the movie that you're gonna make your debut on?
So it wasn't the first one, as Pat mentioned. I sent him a script, and it was like, "Oh, this is crazy. I like it. It's good." He was like, "How the hell are you gonna shoot this?" Because it's gonna be way too much money. So I was like, okay. So I put it away. I still have it, and I still want to shoot it. It's nowhere near a faith-based film. It's very, very R-rated. But yeah, so I took a class writing for actors, because I'm an actor. And I took it at this school called LaGuardia Acting Studio with Joshua Nelson. And he always told me, he's like, you should write something, you should shoot something. You have a little experience, with my day job and everything. He's like, you should write and shoot something. I was like, all right. So he offered this class, the writing for actors class. I took it, and I wrote the scene where Zach and Gabrielle meet. Only it was in the back alley of a funeral home. It wasn't at a church. So I just wrote that scene by itself. And I was like, there's something here. There's something here, because everyone in class, in the writing for actors class, we act these scenes out as actors. We act each other's scenes out. And when the two actors acted it out, there was something there. I definitely saw some reactions. I saw some people, like, wow. So I was like, oh, wow, there might be something here, like a story. So I just developed around that scene. I created the rest of the story around that. And that's how Yuh Filthy Animals, the short script was written.
Yeah, you mentioned something, just now about like you can't make that because it'll be too much money. But you have a lot of very effects in your movie here. I mean, I was so surprised with that. I'm like, man, there's some. That's the first thing I saw was some of the effects. I'm going like, boy, there's some money in here. Someone put some money into this movie.
Let's just say, Patrick, it's good to have friends.
Yes.
And I didn't pay for all that. I have a lot of amazing friends who are extremely talented, really great artists, some visual effects, some 3D, some editors, some compositors. And these guys, they jumped at the idea to help me. So especially Chris Gallagher, who's the art director on this film, and Eddie Wiseman, who did the visual effects in this film. And they were just all in. They were like, I'm like, give me your Venmo, I'll send you something. No, I don't want any money. Don't give me any money. I want to do this. This is awesome. So I have to thank them, to be honest with you. They saved me a ton of money.
And they recognize the reality.
And above everyone, Pat saved me the most money. Let's just say that. Pat saved me the most money. So thank you, Pat.
To the rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he does live up to the name, always right. So did you take did you take his script? Did you have to change anything or make any major suggestions into it, Pat, or was it pretty much?
No, I was only the cinematographer. I let Jeff do his thing. He made the film that he wanted to make.
Yep. When I ran into some roadblocks, I asked him questions like, what would you do here? What do you think about this, Pat? And he helped me out with that. But for the most part, he kind of let me just do my thing. Yeah, like you said.
So let's talk a little bit about the auditioning process for this. Sherry, let me ask you a question here. So doing auditions is it's now we're starting to hear people are they do the self-tape. Now they're starting to do Zoom again, like people are doing Zoom basically live auditions.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a movie or a movie like that where or a script like that where it's like it's just really overpowers you during the process of doing a live audition? Not a self-tape, because the self-tape you can clean that all up. I'm talking about performing in front of a casting director and the script has moved you so much that you react to it while you're doing your audition for a casting director.
Yeah, I've had that happen. It's magical, actually, when that happens, because you don't realize it's happening, and then it's happened, and you walk away and you're like, wow, that was crazy. And then you hope you get it because you don't know if you get it even.
And Michael and Kelly, how about you? I mean, what was the audition like process for you? Did you have to do a Zoom audition or in-person audition, or was it solely to strictly self-tape?
I guess I'm going first. I think it started with self-tape. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. I remember very well doing the self-tape. But did we do a Zoom callback?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the callbacks were over Zoom, but the original self-tape's actually what I remember more, because, I mean, look, self-tapes are, for actors, they're weird. I mean, I set this backdrop up in the entryway to my house. If my fiance happens to come home while I'm filming, I just get a lovely person walking right in front of the camera. So it's not like an actor's space a lot of times. So very rarely do you get one where you get to feel like you're fully in something. And just with the script and the scene that was chosen for the self-tape by Jeff, it's a highly emotional scene. And I would argue maybe one of the most emotional in the film. And I just remember doing it and like being physically moved while I was doing the self-tape and being like, wow, that was real. I didn't have to fake that at all for the tape. And that was just a really special experience for me. So it's actually a fun one to audition for, which isn't always the case.
Yeah, I think I remember the same thing. I started with a self-tape, and then we did a Zoom callback, and I read with you, Michael, and I think I remember that more too. I think it's naturally, but I found that the sides were, you sometimes you get lucky and you get sides that kind of, the writing clicks with how you think and how you talk, and the character kind of clicks with you, and you hope that that's what they're looking for, but you can't really control that. So you do the best that you can with the interpretation that feels the most honest to you, and that's kind of what happened. And I'm glad it happened the way it did.
So can I just say something real quick?
Sure.
My first, I had to get Michael first. I had to get the part of Zach first because everything is built around Zach, right? The character. So there are probably about 60 actors who auditioned for that role, and Michael was the best. And I was like, this guy is good. He's good. He's in touch with his emotions. He knows exactly what this scene is about. But then, and he had chemistry reads with most of the cast because he has a lot of different scenes. But when I was trying to find the actress for Gabrielle, okay, we went through a bunch. Maybe I saw a bunch that auditioned self-tapes, but we did chemistry reads with about 4 or 5 actresses, Michael, right? When Kelly auditioned, we hung up with Kelly, and me and Michael stayed on the call, and we both looked at each other like, holy shit. Like, that was really good. So like both of these two absolutely blew it away. And I was like, this is going to be, if these two commit, it's going to be a great film. So that was kind of what happened on my end.
No cursing.
Yeah. What was it like? What's it like hearing your work is being so well received and winning awards for it, and you still haven't seen the movie? I mean, what kind of emotions has gone through it? And I guess the other question would be, when will you be able to see the finished film?
We're going to see this finished film very soon. I think the first screening is in a week from now, on following weekend, at a film festival nearby, which is going to be very exciting. When things go well on set and you click with everybody and you have scene partners like I had, that I felt very lucky to have, there's still no telling how exactly it's going to end up. And there's times where you can feel like you nailed something on set, and then sometimes it's not exactly what you expected. And then there's sometimes where you can feel like you blew it, and everyone feels the opposite. It turns out to be something beautiful. I felt great on set, and I felt great in my scenes with these pros, and I felt supported the whole time, and it was a beautiful experience. So to hear that people are receiving it well is magical. It's a magical feeling.
Sherry, let me ask you real quick. I've heard the term used before, but I want to get your experience in this too, and that is a chemistry test. What was your first chemistry test like when you did an audition? And did you know what it was before you did your first audition? Before you did your first one?
No, I had no idea. But when it happened, it was unique, and I was surprised. Yeah, it was.
Now it's old hat, right? Now it's like, okay, I know what to expect now. But I mean,
Yeah.
I was gonna, let me roll that question over to you, all three of you, Kelly, Jeff, and Michael, because since you're all actors. Talk to us about your very first chemistry test. What project was it for, and what are some of the pros and cons of doing a chemistry test in your opinions?
I'll go first because my answer is very short. I've never done a chemistry test yet, or I haven't done one yet. So, and that's why I wanted to do one for this film, because I think they're so important. You know, I've been on like indie films and stuff where I haven't done any chemistry tests, and I'm like, we could have used a little bit of rehearsal or like a little bit of connection beforehand to see if we like meshed better together. And you know, even when I was on big sets, like Law and Order, you get there and you don't even rehearse. You better know your lines. You go, action. You better go, and you better know everything. So there's no chemistry at all, no chemistry readings at all. So I thought it was very important for this because I want it to be perfect. I want everyone to connect, and I want to see them together to see how they react to each other. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're hugely important too. You know, I think that they're kind of underrated because, yeah, you know, it's a callback, it's whatever. But with a chemistry read, you get a chance to bond before you're on set, like Jeff said. And sometimes you get to actually make a friendship. Like you get to start a friendship in those chemistry reads. Like when Kelly was nominated and won an award just recently, like the first thing we did was message each other. Like, yeah, we all congratulate each other in group chat, but it was like, hey, great job, team partner. And like, that's not a thing you always get. So it's really cool to get that. And you're not going to be able to suss that out if you just audition an actor, and then never meet, and then they show up and do the job. As far as my first chemistry read goes, I don't remember what project it was for, but I wasn't told it was a chemistry read. I was just told it was a callback, and then I showed up, and they were like, "By the way, it's a chemistry," which was a terrible surprise, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I think it went okay. We both booked, so
Good. You had chemistry. Kelly?
That's so funny. That was my first chemistry read too. I thought it was a callback, and I came, and I don't think that it was never explicitly even mentioned it was a chemistry read, but I kind of gathered eventually. But I don't know. We both ended up booking that too. It's hugely important. You need to know if you mesh with somebody. It's not about talent. Like, it's not about, you know, if the first things first, can I work with this person? Like that's how people get hired in every industry. So it's hugely important, and I love when I get the opportunity to be a part of it.
Pat, how important is it for you as a filmmaker? I mean, you made several films, so
50-50.
50-50. Is that normal?
It depends on the roles. Depends on the film. I mean, at the end of the day, it depends who you're hiring. If you're hiring professionals, then not really. You know, if you're working with indie artists or whatever, then, you know, sometimes it probably would be smart to do some chemistry reads. But obviously the past 3 years, we haven't really, you know, a lot of people are still, you know, it's been good for the past year and a half, you know, but before that, people didn't want to get together for chemistry reads because of COVID. And doing them online, to me, it's pointless. but obviously
Yeah,
it worked well here.
yeah,
So,
I can see that. I mean, yeah, doing them online, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think chemistry test has to be in person. I mean, that's the only way it's going to work.
I mean,
You
I
know
did
what?
them so I'm doing a horror feature, and just about everybody on there. Well, the scene that Jeff was in, he already worked with one of the actresses that was her scene partner. So I already knew that they had a working relationship together. But everybody else, either they've worked with each other on one of my previous films, or they came in and they read with their scene partners beforehand. And I had probably 4 or 5 in-person readings as well, just because it was, it's a low budget feature that I was pretty much doing myself with 3 other crew members. So everything acting wise had to be on point. So in that case, 100% it mattered. I did a film about a month and a half ago, and it didn't really matter, and it came out fine so far.
Yeah, so
So
I agree with Pat. I agree with Pat on 50-50 because sometimes you've already made films with these people, and sometimes the role's not big enough to need a chemistry read. So yeah, it depends.
As far as it's, to me, what really gets me about this movie too is the spectrum. It's probably the biggest one I've seen since I'm doing this series. I can't think of an actor that can go to, from Filthy Animal to, like, I saw the movie that Jeff just did. You just did a movie called Method Man, and I'm watching you do Method Man, and I'm going like, man, I need a roadmap to connect these two because it's so far apart.
Yeah, Method Man's a little. Yeah.
Now when you do a movie like that, and here you are, you're it's like, okay, I'm doing a horror film now, and here I am, back in the saddle with a horror film, but in the back of your mind, are you thinking like, especially with the success that Animal is gonna be having, will that change the style of movies that you want to not only act in but to write in? Do you see yourself going more toward like family drama, more toward mainstream cinema, and less horror film?
No, there's some. Sorry, no, there's some things that I won't do obviously on film, but I don't think the genre and the telling the stories, if it's a faith-based film or a horror film, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that if you're a professional, you kind of know how to separate it. It's just work. Do you know what I mean? And you're not really, you're telling someone else's story. It's not like a biography. You're telling your own story. You're telling someone else's story. So I can separate that pretty easily, actually. Yeah, it's not a problem for me.
Let's see. Jen says, "What are the challenges to doing auditions in a Zoom call versus in person? I imagine doing them in person much more effective, just from the acoustics perspective and feeling the resonance of an audition." Yeah, I mean, that's a very strong question. I mean, like I said, I've seen people talking about doing more Zoom auditions now, but I definitely, I heard that people are starting to do more in person again now. Are you starting to see that? And that includes you too, Sherry. Are you starting to get in? Are you guys are the 4 of you starting to do more in person auditions? Before like the chemistry test, but I mean, just in general auditions, are you starting to see that, more and more in persons again?
I'm not seeing very many on in person yet. Still lots of Zoom calls.
Yeah, I mean, once in a while, you get a production that has just a crazy amount of money, and they're like, hey, we rented a studio space. Everybody come, and we're going to book out the entire day and just do 10 minutes with each person. But for the most part, it's Zoom, and I mean, there's got some drawbacks, but the reality is that it's really helpful, especially for commuting and everything. I mean, me, Jeff, and Kelly would have had to commute from 3 very different places to be able to do an in-person. So,
yeah.
Yeah, still mostly Zoom. Zoom has its own challenges that I think everybody experiences. It's hard to, like Pat was saying, it's hard to know exactly, it's hard to get to know somebody over Zoom, but it does make things easier with traveling and stuff like that.
I refuse to have a Zoom audition.
I don't blame you.
100. I never will. I refuse.
I get that.
I'd rather spend the $250 it costs to rent out a little studio in Manhattan and have everybody audition.
Yeah.
Because there I could see people's nerves. I could see people's personality. One of the women I hired for a lead, she was probably the 4th or 5th most talented person in the audition. Hired her off her personality.
Yeah. I like that.
Wouldn't have seen that over Zoom.
Definitely in person's always, I feel like, a little bit more fun. Also, you don't have to worry about like your background falling over or your camera not working or all the things that happened right before I got on this interview.
Plus, not to be a scumbag, but that tells you who really is from New York and who's really from the area. Because a lot of people will put New York on their Actors Access or Backstage, and they're in Philly
or Jersey.
Or out in the mountains with Jeff somewhere. They'll be somewhere over there where there was some really talented people, and I kind of when they send an email, they have their phone number, and I'm like, I know that's a Philly phone number. I know that's a Delaware phone number. There's no way these people are coming to the audition and they didn't show up. So that kind of helps, because now that's if I hire this person in Delaware, what's to say they actually come?
Yeah, that's
I've had no call, no shows before. I mean, not with a lead, but with a supporting actor, actress, a fill-in, just something small. I've had people just not show.
It really doesn't matter if it's a small part. The fact that they just don't show up, I mean, it's like they're part of the puzzle. They're part of the work. And,
it's easier to fill though when it's not a main.
Right.
Like I've had makeup artists fill in plenty of times. We've had sound guys fill in, whatever we had to do at the moment.
That's awesome. But, I love that. I love that. Hey, get in here, Joe. You're now playing the sheriff. I am. Where's my chemistry test? Yeah. That's. Let me ask Michael and Kelly. What was your first job? As far as a working actor, a paying actor. What was your first job, and what was it like for you to what have you noticed from your very first audition to where you're at now? What's been some of the biggest differences that you've noticed in your work from the beginning to now? Oh, hell, I must well throw Jeff and Sherry in there too. Yeah, you guys are all actors. I'm asking acting questions. I'm gonna get to you too, Pat. I promise.
Well, I'm gonna act. I'm acting next week.
Really? All right.
Really?
All right. Really? So we'll throw that into Pat.
No. Let's just skip me. Michael raised his hand.
No. Michael pointed at himself because Kelly pointed at Michael. My first job, I have no idea. I can't lie to you. I think it would probably be a student film I did, which is actually pretty good, called Death Jam, that I made with some filmmakers out of France, and they did pay me for that, so I guess I'll call that my first professional one. I think my process is that has changed in the sense that I have a process now. I mean, like, you go to film school, you learn all this technique, but then like you show up and it's like, hey, you have 30 minutes and then you're on camera, and 20 of those minutes you have to get dressed and put on makeup. So there's no way you're doing emotional prep for an hour in the bathroom. Like, so you're like, you kind of have to develop your, you have to hone your technique into whatever it is that you have the time for. Sometimes it's 5 minutes listening to the angriest music I have on my phone, and sometimes it's 40 minutes of meditation. It just depends. But now I kind of have that process. I have that way of going about things. it helps when you have a good director. Jeff is a great director. He definitely got us there. But it definitely, I feel like the process has evolved a lot based off of just the experience of the last 3 years working in the industry and being on every different kind of set.
Were you surprised to see an actor have that strong of a directing debut?
Yes. Like, I do think actors make the best directors. I'm sorry if I'm going to upset some directors here, because they just know how to speak actor.
Pat is an actor now.
You're right.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
He's got his new emails. Always act Pat. So
Not yet.
Always act. But yeah, no, I mean, they know how to speak actor, and actors are naturally empathetic. It's part of the job. So a director who is an actor is going to show up with a lot of care for the director, and some directors speak crew, some directors speak actor, and some directors speak both. And I do think being an actor at least helps you speak actor. So there's something to be said for that.
I want to say real quick, thank you, Jay, for coming in. I appreciate you coming in and your support and your questions. And hopefully we'll see you again sometime soon. How about you, Kelly? What project? How have you seen yourself gone from your first paying job to where you're at now?
Yeah, well, you definitely grow as a person. My first paying job was a touring production of, I started in theater. So my first job was a touring production of Junie B. Jones, the musical, where I played Junie B. Jones from that children's book. So very different from the work I'm doing right now. I think, yeah, Michael, you kind of hit the nail on the head. You develop a process and several of them, and then you get to pick and choose what kind of works for you for each character. And I think that, the more years that you live, the more honestly, the more truthfully you can portray a wider variety of characters just from having life experience. I mean, you can't play certain characters at 19 because you've never lived it, and you've never had that experience. There's no possible way that you could grasp it. So every year we all gain more experience and we get a wider, variety of masks that we can put on.
How about you, Sherry?
My first role was I had to say inappropriate things to a blind man with a seeing eye dog.
Whoa, that's rough. That's rough.
Wait, was this a Pat Bradley film? No. I was just playing, brother.
I'm taking notes on that.
Oh man! Oh, I couldn't even imagine what that would have been like. Oh my stars!
I felt so bad.
Yeah.
Sounds really fun, actually.
It was. He was really great, but I still felt bad. But in the end, it was he knew it was. There was, when I showed up, it was a choice between me saying inappropriate things to a blind guy or I had to drag him across the street. But the other guy that showed up was bigger than me and the blind guy was big. And I'm like, well, I'm not dragging him, so I'll just say inappropriate things to him. And since then, I've just been picking up. I just finished a psychological drama, and this weekend I'm doing the horror film.
I want to say hello to Nicole. Klopia is here, and Katie is here. And Nicole has a question. From a writing perspective, did you hit any roadblocks, or did the most of the script flow easily? That question would be to you, Jeff.
I didn't hit any the only roadblock I hit was trying to keep it short. And I mean, I had an idea for the beginning, which I got in that writing for actors class, and I had an idea for the end. I wanted it to be a happy ending because, you can take that any way you want, but I wanted it to be a happy ending. And I've been to all these film festivals and everything is so damn depressing. Everything just ends so sad or so violent. And I was like, we need something that's lighthearted, that people can enjoy. It's just something where they walk away and they're just like, that was a good film. I feel happy at the end of that, So the only roadblock I had was keeping everything condensed and not going crazy with the story, because I really wanted to, dig into Michael's character, and I really wanted to see more of his life, show more of his life, of Zach's life. So, and show more of his brother's life. Chris Richards, who plays Jason, I wanted to show more of his life so we can have more of an understanding of their relationship. So that was the only roadblock, is pulling back, keeping it condensed, and still, driving it home with a good story that people can relate to. Yeah.
Did you write Animal two characters you do in real life? Did anything in the story itself, did it reflect anything onto your life? Because you talk about some really heavy subjects there. Overdoses,
My life?
addiction.
Yeah. You mean from my life? I'm sorry, Pat.
Yeah, yeah. Did any of that? Did you experience any of that? What you wrote in your movie?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up Lutheran, which is a Christian denomination. It's like right under Catholic. So we have a lot of similarities to Catholic Christians. And so I have a lot of knowledge about Christianity. I'm not perfect by any means, and I'm not an expert, but I have a lot of knowledge going to catechism classes and going to church. So I know a lot about the Bible. As far as the whole the brother relationship, I'm very close to my brother. He's my younger brother, and I kind of use parts of that to create that bond between these two characters.
Yeah.
And also, I actually, just the whole idea of mortality. I lost 3 cousins, 2 recently, and they were around my age, and it was just extremely sad. And I was in the hospital for a while. I was close to death's door, the nurses said, from an illness that I didn't even know I had. So I took a lot of that stuff and kind of mixed it up into this filthy animal soup and throw it into the script. So there are bits and pieces of my life that go into this, but the whole "you filthy animal" thing is, from Home Alone. Obviously, it's a kind of a nod to that, and it's just something that everyone can relate to. That saying, because me and my brother say that to each other sometimes, like, "you filthy animal." We'll say something and we'll end with "you filthy animal," because that was kind of like a movie that we watched growing up, and yeah, a lot of it I took from not took from, but what was inspired from the movie "It's a Wonderful Life," where James Stewart his character is visited by this angel who stops him from committing suicide, right?
Right.
Which is my second favorite movie of all time. It's a Wonderful Life, and some film tricks from Ben-Hur from 1959, which is my number 1 favorite movie of all time. To where I used that in the trailer, not so much the film, but in the trailer, I never showed Kelly at all. If you watch the trailer, I never show her, even though she's like one of the lead characters. So I definitely took some pieces from my life and used it.
Pat, as a screenwriter, is that a smart thing to do for? Is that a smart play as a starting screenwriter, to write based on what like your immediate family or your life experiences, or can that become a crutch, so to speak?
As a starting screenwriter, you should always write what you know. That gets you comfortable with formatting, because you're writing what you know, right? So you already know the story, you already know how you want to piece it. Now you have to learn how to piece it together. So if you're learning how to piece it together and then you have to do research on top of it, then you have to start, you know what, that church is not really where this is gonna. If you have to start doing all that without knowing it, you're just not gonna do it. So writing what you know as a beginner is always the easiest way to get something done. And getting it done is more important than actually finishing it is more important than getting the
Right.
movie made. So
I can see that. I definitely can see that. You know, having a complete script done, knowing that you are able to do that, knowing that this is your first one, I could totally understand that one.
but you do always want to put something in there that has to do with your life in every screenplay. Whether it's, you know, like he took Ben-Hur and It's a Wonderful Life, and you always, even if it's something you enjoy, it doesn't have to happen to you, it could just be something you like. And you put that in there, it avoids writer's block.
Oh, okay.
Can I add to that? So I think Pat's absolutely right, and it's an art form, right? This is art.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not putting yourself into it, then it's not art. I mean, I feel like you have to, for it to be considered art. You have to put yourself into it. You have to, you have to feel that pain and let it out on the paper, and that is art. That's what painters do. That's what, singers do. It's a part of them. So I think you have to.
I was seeing if Kelly was going to be coming back, but I don't think she is.
She said, "Fuck this, I'm leaving."
No, she has an early call time tomorrow, so she let me know she has to go.
Is this off one of your sets, Pat?
Mm-mm.
I
don't do early call times.
Oh, oh my God! You just open the door for every actor to be giving you a call now, right? That's it. That you just.
No, I get up at 4:30 every morning, so on the weekend I like to sleep till 6.
How important is it? Let me ask you guys here. As far as reading scripts go, I mean, do you look for that in scripts when you get them? I mean, do you look for it's a good story, yes, but do you look for pieces of yourself or your like I can relate to that, or that's happened to me, or maybe this is a little
Kelly's
bit too...
backstage.
Oh,
Kelly said she's backstage.
Oh, okay.
She said, "Let me the fuck in now."
Let me see her there. Let me bring her up.
All those F-bombs that we cut from the script, we actually just gave them to Pat to say.
Just gave them to me, and I just started saying it. So.
Good. Sorry about that, Kelly. Yeah.
All good.
Yeah. So I mean, I was just thinking about that too. About you are, you're as an actor, you try to you want to write something that you want to act in something that you can relate to, or you can feel a little bit of yourself into that script. I mean, I would think that'd make it a little bit more easier to approach the work, approach the story, than to something come off like 100%. Like I noticed that all three of you for Animal, you all have a background in the church. So getting a script, because most of the actors that I know that would it's not very many people I know that could get a script like Filthy Animal and actually do it, because I don't think they would know really how to actually approach a faith-based project, because there's so damn little of them done. I mean, there really is.
I mean, I know for me. Sorry, I know for me. I didn't really approach it from the faith angle. I mean, that is a part of my life, but that isn't really how I approached it. I approached it from the brother angle. I mean, I have 2 older brothers. They mean the world to me. And, we've gone through periods where we aren't talking, or where something really serious is happening in their lives. And it's been hard. And this film is the ultimate expression of that. It really is. I mean, yeah, there's a love story in here too, and there's a lot of faith iconography and all that. But it's really a story about brotherly love.
Yes.
And that's what I latched onto right away. I mean, Jeff did a phenomenal job casting my brother. Phenomenal actor. Chris is great. He's awesome. And he made it super easy to feel connected to him. And so much so that, not to spoil anything, but we shot the end before we shot the very beginning, or like close to the end. And that to later then shoot the beginning and be seeing images of my brother and thinking about my brother having been this man that I was able to bond with on set, it brought up a lot of real stuff for me. That was something that I was able to latch onto very easily. It was just what you would do for your brother.
Yeah, I everybody's gonna see that. Everybody's gonna see that. I want to go touch back a little bit about Method Man with you, Jeff, because like I said before, it's like this, the difference between the both is so wide. Did you have a problem? Did you have a problem, going from that world of Animal to the world of Method Man? I mean, was there any sort of disconnect? Like you sort of look over your shoulder, going like, I just wrote a beautiful piece of film here, made a great piece of, and then here I am now playing a character who is very unsavory. Is very, he's humorous, and in some respects he's humorous, but at the same time he's not. And do you have well, I guess I can expand this to all of you. Have you ever done a movie where you've just been so amped about it, so it's like yes, and then you get back into the work, into the audition process, and like the first 3 or 4 things that come across your desk are just everything that was opposite of what you just got doing. How do you get up to go back there and say, I was in a great movie, really a beautiful movie. Now I got to go play someone in the dark. How hard is that for an actor to do that? Because Michael mentioned about getting into the emotional range, for getting an hour, getting yourself into that range. Is it really hard to do that? To go from like family movie to a horror movie. How hard is it to go there and maintain your balance?
For me, it's not hard at all. It really isn't. I just have fun. I just love characters and I love playing different people. It's so fun telling different stories. And you mentioned he was kind of funny. Method Man, Vincent Harbor.
Yeah, Vincent.
It's a comedy.
But it's funny because he's so pitiful. He's absolutely pitiful. I mean, here he is obsessing over over a role, right? And he's losing his mind, obviously. But it's like he's pitiful, and at the same time, it's like, dude, it's just a role. Chill. And that's like, it's like, don't take it as seriously, but he does. It's everything to him. So I love that. I love the balance of, or the difference between
Come on back.
all the different roles, and I think it's just fun to like sink your teeth into those type of characters. Pat will tell you, we shot this a couple times, and and I was happy to. I would shoot it a 4th time. I told him, I was like, I'm ready for the next one, because the character is so fun to play. It's so fun.
He was out there. Oh my gosh! I mean, it's funny because I know you probably didn't mean for that to happen necessarily, but good Lord! I mean, I'm sitting there watching. One thing I'm going like, okay, like he really is Johnny Depp here. It's like I'm just like I'm closing my eyes and there's Johnny Depp. I go, and then I'm going like, method actors scare the shit out of me sometimes. For the things that they will do for their part. It's just like you just want to go up there and because I don't know and I don't understand, but if I want to go up there and say it's just acting. You're acting. You don't need to do a Christian Bale or a Jared Leto or any of that extremist. And it just blows my mind when I see people actually do that. And it's just like, but it's just acting. But is it just acting? I mean, when you were in Vincent's skin, you're having fun with it, but did you look at Vincent like he's a total dick? Or did you feel sorry for him? Like he just felt so, I mean, even though he's not the nicest guy, obviously, but did you feel sorry for the character as well when you're inside his skin playing him?
Yeah, I felt sorry for myself as I was playing Vincent.
Because you had to work with me again, right?
No, because that's his whole thing. He feels sorry for himself. That's why he's so wrapped up in this need to be accepted and and go all the way with this method. He's very desperate. He's a very desperate character, and he's sad. He's a very sad person. You know. I know Michael and Kelly and Sherry were like, who the hell are they talking about? But eventually you'll probably see it. It's an interesting short film, and he's an insane character. He's losing his mind, and what happens happens.
If you've ever seen
Or
the movie,
doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Oh.
or what doesn't happen. We don't know.
Pat, obviously you wrote that story. How much fun did you have writing it? I mean, is it fun to is it really fun to is it really fun to write those kind of characters? I mean, what's more fun to you, to write someone like a Vincent, or to write something or a character like a Gabrielle?
It depends what kind of mood I'm in. So I'm pretty much a character writer. So if I'm feeling, a little, so everything comes for a reason, right? So Method Man happened. I was talking with an actor about something, and he just started explaining how he wanted to attack a role a certain way, and the director wanted him to become that specific character. So he's like, I don't like this shit. He's like, I can't get into this character. I don't know this guy. So then we just started going on, and I was like, what would be really funny? And then I just wrote it. And what it was more of like an exercise to make sure, because if you watch the film, you know how it basically switches genres midway through.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of,
that was an interesting twist.
It was more of a writing challenge for myself to write something in two different genres and still keep it interesting, and have the second half pertain to the first half without it being like a prologue.
I rewatched North by Northwest today, and it had the same thing. It had the first half of the movie. It's one setting, one mood, and then about I would say the first 2/3 of the movie is one way, and then it flips it over on its head, and then the last third is it's a lot darker, and it's just it's just like, it's interesting to see that. It's interesting it's interesting as a film fan that I can actually spot that now. I can actually see that happening.
Yeah.
Before, I really wouldn't know. I'd just be following the movie. But now I've seen a few, and I can understand the process thanks to gentlemen such as yourself and Jeff and other actors. Now I can actually see a movie shift its tone and direction. It's very
we did that with the genre, so it was very comical in the beginning, and then if you notice, it's lit very brightly, and then as the movie progresses, the lighting starts to get dimmer, more dramatic, until the end where it turns into a thriller. So it goes comedy, drama, thriller, and the lighting kind of leads you directly into the ending.
How much to all the actors on the panel, how important is it to be accepted by your peers? I mean, how important is that? I mean, I know that actors, they always say you guys always perform for an audience somewhere, but let me ask you this: I mean, how important is it to get recognition from a peer? Not so maybe personally, but somebody maybe you're seeing a scene with, or you're auditioning with, or you're working on a movie with. How important is it for them to recognize you and your work?
I would say, if you're asking how important is it to like connect with the person, it's very important. But not to sound too much. I'm going to sound a little bit. I'm going to channel my inner Pat here. If it's about being recognized, I really don't care what you think about me. Like, I'm not paid to make you happy. I'm paid to act. So, at the end of the day, like, that's what I do. And the recognition's great. And if I get it, like, heck yeah, that's awesome. But if I don't, I'm not going to lose sleep over what you think about me.
Yeah, if that's the goal, is to get recognition, I think that's a really difficult goal to achieve. And I don't, I don't, operate that way. But I mean, you don't want to upset people or offend anybody or hurt anyone's feelings. But if you get along with people, you get along with them. You know, I think that's in everything. I don't think that's just actors. You know, if you get recognized, it's nice, but is it important? Meaning, I need this to continue? No, I don't think that that's the right reason to continue.
Sherry?
Recognition is not something I look for. It's the people I work with. I enjoy like certain directors, or it's the camaraderie that I make along the way. That is what I thrive on way more than any recognition. It'll happen. I don't care.
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, for a movie like this, and I do think it's gonna, like I said, I do think it's gonna be, you know, gonna become a critical darling, and I do think you guys are gonna win a ton of awards for it. And it's just, you know, does that actually empower you, or is it just a byproduct of the
So
job that you did?
I'll answer your first question. For me, if you want recognition, become an influencer. If you want to be an artist, become an actor and a filmmaker. Because you want to affect people. You want people to relate to you as an artist, and you want people to enjoy. You do want that. You don't want people to hate you. Obviously, no one wants that. But as an artist, you want to express yourself, and you want people to be affected by that expression, to relate to you, and you want to help people get through their lives with these stories, right? So you want people to, understand where he's coming from, you know? But if you want recognition, like, you know, I want to be famous, or I don't know, I want 1,000 followers, you know, by the end of the week. Like, it's that you're not an artist. You just
No.
It's the wrong way to look at it, you know?
Right. I can understand that. We have a
I don't even have a
question.
headshot.
You don't have a headshot?
I don't have a headshot. That'll tell you how much I want.
So we got to get you a headshot. So I was going to volunteer and get Pat a headshot. Okay, question for you here. This is from Jen. She says, what movie inspired you all to get into film and acting?
Anyone?
I don't know that a movie made me become an actor. I think that was just what I wanted to do. It was what I was best at, and I don't want to do anything else. There's movies that I watch and actors that I, you know, observe perform that I respect and they inspire me. But I know that it was. I watched the movie. I was like, oh man, I want to do it. That guy's doing, you know.
Yeah, kind of same. I'm sorry, Sherry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, kind of same. I don't know that there was necessarily anything that like made me be like, oh, this makes me want to be an actor. I mean, movies like Lone Survivor was a movie that made me realize maybe what kind of story I really wanted to tell as like my own personal projects. But I wouldn't say that anything made me want to be an actor. I feel like this career is such a struggle and such a thing that you have to love to do. That comes from somewhere internally. That's not something you watch and go, oh, I want to do that. That comes from in here.
Yeah, that's an illness, is what you're talking about.
Correct.
The mental illness. Yeah. Go ahead, Patrick. Sorry.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this too. Because you guys you've had different, you know, you have different level of jobs, independent films, TV, or whatnot. Has there been any one particular moment, you know, in working on a movie where that someone has given you a moment or a piece of advice that has just have you applied to yourself? Like with you, Jeff, do you look at Pat more as a peer or more as a mentor?
I look at him as a collaborator. I think once you join, once I joined on his first project, which I think was Starcrossed, I was like, how can I make his story the best it can possibly be by bringing justice to my character. And I don't know if I thought of him as a mentor, but more of a collaborator, more of like, how can we make this the best it can possibly be? You know, how can I help him bring his story to life? That's how I looked at it.
And you, Pat, how do you get a lot of actors like Jeff approaching you and asking you for your advice or your help, or say, you know, can you look at my script and tell me, you know, give feedback? You get a lot of that yourself?
No, a lot. I get a lot of young filmmakers, not really actors, not really writers, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm out of budget for writers, so they don't tend to come to me very often. But filmmakers, like young film, like I have literally my next door neighbor is a young filmmaker, and I bring him onto everything to learn. And I do tend to start working now, especially with a lot more filmmakers under 25. I've shot probably maybe in the past year and a half, maybe like 15 projects for first-time directors. So that kind of more, because then you get to see people, you get to help people create something. You get to help them kind of see their vision through the way they want it to. You know, they might not be, like a first-time director might not be able to explain exactly what he wants, but I could show him, you know, different options, and he could, oh, that is exactly how I saw it. How'd you get that? And then I could sit there and have a conversation with him, try to explain to him how I got that as a filmmaker. But as a writer, people kind of tend to stay away from me.
And we talked a little bit about this earlier on my panel. Did everybody get to answer my question, or did I skip anybody? Okay. I don't want to say,
right?
You're asking.
Okay.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
going to ask you this because you guys are all both as actors and as filmmakers. We talked about this last Monday when I had the cast and crew of the Wicked Ways of Western County. Do you see do you feel that the fundamental shift in the way the movies are being made? It seems like every movie being made now is being made as far as indies go through crowdsourcing. Is that going to be the new normal now, or do you feel like it's just a phase, and that the money from investors will come back when the timing's right?
I think Pat's the most qualified to answer that question, to be honest with you. Unless he disagrees.
It depends on the movie, right? Because most horror is still going to be crowdfunded just because it's the least expensive to really make. And you're not really getting a crazy return on anything anymore.
No.
As far as action, you're probably going to want investors just for the simple fact that the insurance is going to eat most of your budget that you need to actually produce something. I've shot an action feature for someone, and their budget was a lot of money. And when on set, you don't see any of that budget. That budget was for liability insurance, workers' comp insurance in case somebody gets hurt. It goes to all the stuntmen. Like, you don't actually see that money in production. And that you're going to need investors for, because no matter how many followers you have, you're not getting enough money to make that type of movie. But it honestly, it depends. Like, if you're okay crowdfunding, then crowdfund. If you can get investors, get investors. If you can do it yourself, you're probably better off. Because a lot of times, yeah, I mean, crowdfunding is, you know, but you still, at the end of the day, you're still begging for money. You know, if it works for you, that's fine. It doesn't work for me. And investors come with strings. And
Yeah.
if you're okay with that, then that's a great way to go.
Right.
So, like,
right. A lot of strength.
You know, if you know that, you know, you're okay changing certain things and, you know, taking on this producer's girlfriend as an actress or her husband as an actress, whatever it as an actor, whatever it is. If you're okay with that, then that's fine. Like there's times when I'm okay with it, there's times when I'm not. So it depends on the filmmaker, realistically. But crowdfunding is not going anywhere, especially with the economy and how it is now.
Yeah, that's why I asked. It's like, crowdfunding seems to be becoming more and more of a way for people to get made because, the investors aren't doing it as much anymore because there's no return to it anymore.
That's why there's places like Tubi and Amazon and even Hulu nowadays has ads. So if you're an independent filmmaker, you pretty much just want to put your film on something that's going to get you some kind of return. And that's probably your best bet unless you go for foreign distribution, which is a whole nother ballgame, so it's kind of, people need to realize that budgets need to come down and people's rates need to come down in order for professional wise, not indie wise, because indie rates suck. But if you're making like, pro pay, you got to understand that if you're charging union rates, it's going to have to come down if you want to continue to work. Otherwise they can just go to non-union for half the price, and just because you're in a union doesn't mean you're better.
Right.
It just means you had that opportunity. So it's a tricky game that's going to be in the future. So you kind of have to figure out where you want to fall. But
I think we have time for one last question. If anybody in the chat wants to ask a question, please feel you can drop your question in. But for you folks, I will go ahead and ask, what is next for you guys? What's going forward from today? What are you guys each working on? What project? And we'll start with you, Pat.
Let's see. I have an anthology of short films coming in December, which is going to be on Amazon, Tubi, and Hulu. That's coming in early December. It's 5 short films, kind of tied in together, all different genres, all different feelings of the films. And then I have a horror feature that's going to come next year. I'm almost finished with it. We shot 3/4 of it in December, and we're shooting the other quarter of it in September. It's a 1980s set New York horror. Nice. So it's a lot of time in post getting that 80s look.
Right. How about you, Jeff? What's next for you?
Lots of film festivals for Yuh Filthy Animal. I got Jersey Shore Film Festival coming up next Saturday. And then I have another one, Art is Alive Film Festival in August. We got accepted to that one for Yuh Filthy Animal. And Method Man is doing a film festival run. Pat's kind of doing that now, figuring that out. It got accepted to Art is Alive Film Festival as well in August. And I'm in a couple of short films coming up. One called Career Day, writer-director John Kerner on that. And I have an indie feature film, horror film coming out in October, I believe. October or November. That's called Dating Horror Stories. And then I'm in a play in November, a local play.
Oh, good. Back to the boards.
Yeah.
Sherry, what do you got? What do you got coming up?
I have a few things actually. Saturday, I'm filming, playing a role in I'm Haunted 3, and then in July.
You gonna roll in? Oh, that's awesome! I'm so happy to hear that. I love that. I love that series so much.
Awesome. And then I'm helping produce a music video, Kai Candro, My Girl Friday the 13th. and then have a role in David Pierce Monroe as Gladys Pearl, Marilyn Monroe's mom. We're just starting in the process of casting and slowly getting the trailer together.
You made a lot of progress on that since you were here.
And I'm also writing a vampire script. I have 5 more scenes left, and I'm done.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you got I'm Haunted 3. Are you sharing any scenes with our favorite redhead, Genesis?
Not sure who I'm in scene with. Whoever Willow is playing. I'm playing Eloine.
Oh boy, it's a found footage to you guys. It's a found footage by a gentleman named Brandon Rhines. It is a fantastic little movie. The first one is I'm Haunted. It's so much fun. That movie is wickedly fun. And a terrific actress, Elizabeth Chamberlain. We have to shout out Elizabeth. She's awesome.
She's amazing.
She is amazing. Kelly, what's next up for you? Besides clearing your shelves for more awards that you and Michael will be taking home.
Michael will send me his awards as well, and I'll put them on my shelf. Yeah, so I start shooting tomorrow in several hours. Cool short. It's like a psychological horror, which is one of my favorite genres. And I'm starting to rehearse a different short that's like an improv-based drama, which is an interesting new thing for me. Improv in a dramatic setting. I'm in a pitch phase right now for a sitcom I created. I am producing a short film coming up in a couple of months, which is another drama that we'll produce in Manhattan, called The Last Glass. Very excited for that. And I have obviously Yuh Filthy Animals, many festival screenings that will be coming up. I'm excited to go to those. And I've got other festival screenings for a short I was in called Statistical Probabilities that is making its way around the circuit.
I think it's gonna be very interesting for you three, and Pat. I mean, it's gonna be a very interesting festival. I can actually seeing someone actually coming out of there, and I am gonna ask you, Michael, what you're gonna be doing next. But I wanted to ask Pat or ask Jeff, if someone came up to you and wanted to make Filthy Animals into a feature-length film, do you have a script that could handle that, or would you have to rewrite it?
Nah, Jeffy got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
as Tom Cruise said, "Show me the money." No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we definitely gonna do it. Yeah. Oh yeah. I would love to. I wanted to be a feature. Like I said, I had to condense it. I have so much more I want to tell. But yeah, you never know.
You're a quarter of the way there now.
That's right. That's right. Michael, what's going on with you? What are you be working on this summer?
Yeah, so I just signed on to do a police drama series called The 244. So I'm excited for that one. I'm playing a very evil police officer. I'm also doing some vertical mini-series lately. They're like kind of soap opera-esque, and it's a cool thing to be messing around with. I'm also I independently produced, wrote, and shot my own short, and we're in the post-production process for that called Threat. So look for that at film festivals in the next 6 months. Produced is about to go for. Sorry, go ahead.
You guys are all so busy. I'm so happy to see that too. It's really refreshing to see that you guys all have full plates.
Yeah, and then I have a film that I produced that's going on the festival run called Manhattan Cowboy, and another film that's a feature, an indie feature that should come out sometime this year called Seeds. And then I'll be spending a lot of time at film festivals with Jeff.
Sounds good. It sounds good. I can't wait to see what's going to happen to everybody here on the panel. I want to thank you guys for all coming out and hanging out with us. I really enjoyed it very, very much. I felt like every time, I get someone like a Pat on here or a Jeff or, any one of you, it's educational. And I feel like I learned so much. So thank you for sharing that in your process. By all means, good luck with animals. I hope it cleans up everywhere it plays. It really needs to be seen. I think it's really different. And, people are always saying how they always take, they see a movie and they all want to copy it. Well, I hope this is a movie that people will do that with. I hope they see the movie, see the heart of it, and make other movies like that. Because Lord knows we need them. All right. I want to thank the chat so much for coming in and hanging out. Steve and Jen have been here, and Katie was there earlier. And who else is in here? I want to say hi to Dante. Hi, Dante. Thank you for coming in. And Christian Chase, thank you for coming in and hanging out. And Andre, thank you so much, Andre. Appreciate that. Katie. We will be back here on Tuesday. As far as 8 questions go, on Tuesday we'll be speaking to Anna Exiden. I don't know if that's her last name. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. But she is a fine actress. She will be here on Tuesday. Wednesday we will be talking to Brian Katz and Thomas Zebrek. They are re-jumping and restarting and relaunching Anchor Bay Entertainment. And they will be here on Wednesday, and we cannot wait for that one to get here because that's going to be talking about some of you guys' future as well. See where Anchor Bay is. See what they're going to do. They have a very rich history, tremendous catalog, and hopefully that between Brian and Thomas, they'll be able to bring it back. Otherwise, I will see you. Saturday at 1 p.m. I'll be here live with my friends, the Friendly Men. And we'll be having our friend Josh Hobbs out. But till then, I want to thank you guys for coming out. If you guys stay on the panel just for 1 second, I'm going to say goodnight to the chat. Thank you so much for coming out. We will see you either Saturday at 1 p.m. or I'll see you Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Thanks for watching and have a great night. Peace.